Hello folks, I hope that you are having just the best day in your life today. Today we're taking a look at J.R.R. Tolkien's Farmer Giles of Ham. Now, he wrote it in 1937, but he didn't publish it until 12 years later in 1949. My copy is in my copy of the Tolkien Reader, which I have had and I read when I was a kid. Most of the stories in here I've read one time. There's a couple in here I actually have not read. The Homecoming of Beornhof, which is a play, and I have not read the poems of The Adventures of Tom Bombadil either. I've just read the prose in here instead. Leaf, Tree, and Farmer Giles of Ham. So I wanted to get back to it. Now, this collection was published by Ballantine Books in '66 as a part of their soon-to-be adult fantasy series, which began with J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, and it was a big, huge seller for the small, independent American company that was founded by a husband and wife tag team, the Ballantines, and it was a big hit for them. And then soon after the hits of Tolkien, they began to publish an adult fantasy series that was edited by one Lynn Carter, who was an incredibly influential writer in his own right, because he's an Appendix N, but he's really more influential, I think, because of his editing. And I've argued that he's the most influential editor in speculative fiction, particularly in fantasy, and he's heavily influential in modern fantasy through his editing. And I've actually made that argument for you in a video called "The Case for Carter," which I'll link to you in the comments below, because it's by the same publisher as the Tolkien Reader. I'll also link to you the Tolkien Reader, so you can buy and check out Farmer Giles of Ham, as well as some other books and stories and poems and novels that were published by Tolkien. And written by him, so you can check out a number of these things. Now, this story has a fun, anachronistic flair to it. It's written during the medieval times, in the Middle Ages, and it's a darker take on the Middle Ages, if you will. They don't remember as many things or have as many things survive. There is some anachronistic technology, like there's a blunderbuss as a key element in the first part of the story. And our main character, Farmer Giles of Ham, there's a lot of jokes in there by names of things like one of Saint's names, for example, before his feast day, and it is hilarious. And so there are a number of these little jokes that are here and there. They talk about a place named called Tame, which is very similar to Thames. There's a lot of these little jokes in place names, saints, and it's definitely, I think, to its credit, because it's this whimsical story. It feels like it's probably more geared, I think, for probably young adults than adults, but adults will give a fun time reading it. So I wanted to go back and read it for the first time in a long time in my copy of the Tolkien Reader. So what happens in Farmer Giles of Ham, which is a novella length. It's 71 pages in my copy of the Tolkien Reader. It took me about an hour and a half for me to knock out earlier today. So what is this story all about? Well, let's get started. So our main character is Farmer Giles of Ham, as you can tell from the title. And he's a farmer in the small village of Ham, which has grown a lot since this story had taken place. It had become a much more important place name. Anyway, our farmer's doing farmer things. He has a talking dog named Garm. It probably comes from the mythological creature Garm from Norse mythology. And he's a talking dog, and he can talk a few different ways and for a few different reasons. And we'll find out why and against whom he talks. And we're also told that all dogs talked then as well. And anyway, our farmer is awoken one night by his dog, because there is a giant that has decided to go wandering. And he's come wandering to Farmer Giles's farm, and he is now moving about his farm late at night, and he's squished Farmer Giles' favorite cow, and a number of other things. And Farmer Giles has his dog comes and tells him that he's out there. His wife says that he's lying. He doesn't want to get caught. He doesn't want to get caught because he snuck out for the evening. So come back to bed. Don't believe him. And he says no. The dog could have just come back in with the mailman or the milkman in the morning. So I don't believe him. I don't believe that he's lying. I believe that there's something out there. And so what he does is he spends time loading his blunderbuss with nails and wire and that sort of thing. And arming it and running it to see what's out there. He doesn't know if it's actually a giant. He could be something else. But there's definitely somebody out there on his farm, and he is definitely very defensive about that. He wants to protect his animals. He wants to protect his crop. Right? He's a farmer. He wants to protect his people. And we're told that blunderbusses are rare at this time. Anyway, he heads out, and the giant, he sees that there's actually a giant there. He shoots it in its face. A nail stings his nose and lands in his nose. And another piece hits his eye. The one that hits his nose stings really badly. And so he grabs a couple of sheep and he flees back home. And he tells a story to the local giants and to the local people that are there. And he'll tell the story that he wasn't eating any nights, and it was lots of fun, but it was a little dangerous. And there were some sharp biting insects that were there. And he thinks that these insects are things that can be overcome. He believes he was bit by an insect rather than the farmer with the gun. Anyway, then the next thing we find out is that our good Farmer Giles of Ham is becoming famous and for driving off the giant. His dog had gone around, and as he was grabbing his blunderbuss and announced to the town that he was about to get shot, and he was like the only person in town with a weapon with this old blunderbuss, and they were all like, is a blunderbuss going to work? And there's a giant out there, so they wanted to go see. And so the village saw him shoot the giant, and the giant flee. And so they all are like, ooh, this guy stopped it. And of course, the story gets better in the telling. So they celebrate him that night. He's not able to go back to sleep that night. He drinks a lot, and they keep coming over to his house. Like the parson and the miller are coming to his house that night and become friends with our good Farmer Giles of Ham. And he is given a letter of commendation by the king after the story reaches the ears of the king. And he says, you did better driving off the giant than our knights would have done. And he gets a commendation letter from the king, and there's this sword and it's too long. It's become old-fashioned, so he gives this sword that he has to Farmer Giles as well. So he gets the letter and the sword from the king of the Middle Kingdom, which Ham is a part of. And he begins to find out that fame looks good on Farmer Giles for a while. And he's pretty happy with it. He's very comfortable with it. Anyway, and that's about 16 or 17 pages into the short story, or rather novella, if you will. It was self-published, so it was published as a novel. But that takes you a good probably 50%, probably about 15-20% of the way through the novel, so I'll go ahead and leave you there. Obviously, a lot of fun things are going to happen in it. I enjoy the short story a lot, if you will, in the collection. And so one of the things that I kind of like to do is I kind of like unpack some more stories for you from one of my favorite writers of all time, J.R.R. Tolkien. My first favorite writer. So anyway, there you are. That's Farmer Giles of Ham. 8 out of 10. The wonderfully anachronistic story. So I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Have you read Farmer Giles of Ham? What did you think of it? Did you agree or disagree with my take in any major way? I would be more than happy to engage you with it further in the comments below. If you like this video, hey, why not hit that subscribe button? Because there's going to be a lot more of these to follow in fantasy. It's like this one, horror and science fiction. And then finally, hey, I just want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing into my video. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're being pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it a lot. So thanks again, and have a great day.